Time. Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
The following is a presentation of Learfield. Welcome to Duck Insider.
Our whole athletic department, there's a level of expectations of success.
Throw, catch, touchdown, Oregon.
He can run and slam.
This is back out for a three. Left wing is good. Deep to right field at the warning track. See ya.
Really excited that we get to rep our Ducks and hopefully come back to Eugene with some championships.
Indoor track and field national champion.
We have so many teams that are excelling right now. It's really fun to be a part of.
Give it to me, baby. My house. I'm taking it there.
Huge win for Oregon.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Better banking, local solutions. Live from the Country Financial Studio, here's Joey Mack.
Good afternoon, everybody. Jordan Brenner in for Joey Mack, but I am joined by Joey Mack here. Joey.
I think we have to tell everybody the story here, all right?
Okay, let's tell it.
Inside the show we go.
Okay.
This morning, when scheduling out the show and for the week and what we were going to do and trying to coordinate with Scott, coordinate with Ryan running audio, coordinate with you, getting back from a long baseball trip, you got in bed at what you say, 3 in the morning?
3 in the morning, but you take 2 out of 3 at Stanford.
And you feel great.
You're running on adrenaline at that point.
I understand. You feel great. I've been there. So the point is that the reason that Jordan is here today is because I didn't know when we would be traveling to Utah State. You're going to hear Coach Altman talking about that actually a little later on because he met with the media this morning. So Jordan's here because, and I'm still here because we were able to get some work done, and now the show's on the air, and I'm about to go to the airport. And
why not join me?
This is the life that we're living this week.
Well, hey, I know there were some anxious people about that trip. I was like, the great people here at Oregon and the great people working in this athletic department, they're going to figure it out.
Well, and they did.
And they figured it out. And you're on your way to the airport later today and decided to spend a few minutes here with me.
And the good news is that we do have an indoor track and field national champion again. Congratulations to Emmanuel Umajay. Pretty awesome. Back-to-back in the triple jump for Oregon track and field's sophomore Emmanuel Umajay. He is something else. A chance to do something that not a lot of athletes, not just at Oregon, but in the history of collegiate sports have done in terms of winning this many jump championships.
Yep.
He's pretty impressive. So congratulations to him. The rest of Oregon track and field will break that down. Women's basketball, Jordan, they're going dancing. 5 seed against Belmont. I don't like being the 5 seed in a 5-12 game.
Yeah, I will say, though, the bracket is in Oregon's favor because the next matchup for the Ducks, if all goes chalk, is Tennessee. Joey, they've lost 4 of 6.
Yep.
Number 1 seed, I say Louisville.
Louisville. So the men's basketball team, the last time they were in the Sweet 16 was in Louisville. And on the, you know how
Can you say it one more time for
Louisville.
me? Louisville.
You know how every city has like a travel I don't know, like bureau. It's not really a chamber of commerce. It's more like the tourist center. You know what I'm talking about in like a big city? Louisville's is actually very funny. They have the different phonetic pronunciations of how people say Louisville.
Interesting.
On the side of their wall.
And then in big red letters, they spell out Louisville for people like me to not say it like that.
That's one of the phonetic pronunciations that's on the side of the wall.
That's acceptable?
Apparently.
Okay.
I don't know. I think acceptable is relative. But anyway, I agree that as the 1 seed, if the Ducks are going to pull an upset, I think that makes sense. Also, was I the only one that when Gonzaga was the 9 and they're listed in the bracket right above Oregon that I kind of chuckled since that's where Kelly Graves was previously? So that'd be pretty cool, though, honestly, if Gonzaga was able to take down Louisville. But, yeah, Oregon getting a chance in Knoxville. Tennessee's the host team.
Yep.
We'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. Would have liked to see those games being played at Matthew United Arena.
For sure.
But if you have to go on the road, I don't think that's too bad. And by the way, Baylor, way down at the bottom, the number 2. Alyssa Smith, great player. I think if anybody has the defensive pieces and the defensive identity to deal with her, I think it's the Ducks.
Yeah, the Ducks have actually been, statistically speaking, this year's team one of the best defensive squads that Kelly Graves has had in his time at Oregon. And I say that, and you're like, well, God, how did they not end up as a top 16 seed? Well, injuries, some inconsistency. They've been struggling with that.
How about that February schedule? I mean, It seemed like they were playing every single day.
They
Pretty
played,
good for people like us. We like to watch the team play, listen to Terry Johns, but still.
But I think the week off is really beneficial for Oregon. I think that week off that they got between the Pac-12 tournament and the NCAA tournament, this might be the most critical week off that Oregon women's basketball has ever had. If memory serves, they were tied for the most games played in the month of February when all was said and done.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Across women's college basketball. So, I think that having that week off is critical. I'm really excited for what this team can do because I think they could go to Tennessee and win. I agree. I mean, I know they did not finish well. It was 4 of their last 6 that they lost.
That's right. Tough schedule, granted. I think.
The Ducks have played a tough schedule too.
Yeah, that's true.
I think that I like Oregon's chances in that bracket. But elsewhere, how about Oregon baseball? You were on the road, took down the number 2 team in the country.
Here's the thing. I get back on after the Sunday game. I get on the bus. Okay, Oregon has just taken 2 out of 3 games against the number 2 team in the country in Stanford, a team that brings back almost everybody from a team that went to Omaha last year, to the World Series. And if things went their way, actually – you watch those. They really could have won.
Could have won it.
Won it all. Oregon takes 2 out of 3. They get on the bus. I was like, why is it so quiet in here? I mean, this team has such high expectations. Yep. Internally, they believe that's what they were supposed to do, and they did. And I think, Oregon out-hit Stanford by quite a bit on Sunday, the game they lost. So, pretty remarkable stuff from the Oregon baseball team, no doubt about it.
Also, Oregon softball, home opener, got the wins. So it's a busy show today, so I'm going to get out of your way now.
Please do. Get out of here, Joey. Coach Graves, we have a 2-part interview with him. We're going to hear from Dana Altman today, and also the head coach of the Oregon football team, Dan Lanning, after a successful weekend of spring practice. Let's, though, start with Coach Graves, the women's basketball program about to start their run to hopefully a Final Four or beyond. Here is Kelly Graves.
Okay, well, first of all, I've been doing this for a long time, you guys, and even though we knew we were going to be in the field, there's always something magical about seeing your name come up. We're thrilled that we have a chance to compete in the NCAA tournament. 5 seed, I don't think that was any surprise. I thought that's probably where we were going to be. The question was where we would be going and who we'd play. All I remember, because I was following the Zags last year, I think Belmont was a 12 last year in this tournament and beat the number 5 Zags. So that's what I told our team. I don't know a lot of the particulars yet. I haven't had a chance to really look into that, but I know they're going to be good. They've been good for a long time. They seem like they're in the NCAA tournament each and every year. And, and it's a semi-home game for them. They're going to, I'm sure, have a lot of fans in the Knoxville area. And so, anyway, again, we're excited to be playing, and we hope to go down and compete, play our best.
Apparently, we lost our audio with head coach Kelly Graves, so we'll try and get back to that as soon as we can. Of course, Oregon women's basketball getting ready for that Saturday matchup against Belmont at 2:30, and I was just discussing it with Joey. This is a bracket that you have to feel good about for the Ducks. Way at the bottom, Baylor. At the top, you look at Louisville. That's a team that Oregon should, I think, have a pretty good chance to beat. That is, of all the number 1 seeds, the probably the lowest ranked number 1. Oregon men's basketball will be traveling to play Utah State in the first round of the NIT. We're going to hear from Dana Altman a little bit later when it comes to that. Oregon football got started with their Oregon spring practices as well. We'll hear from Coach Dan Lanning later on in the show. But let's go ahead and get our first break of the show. And we'll come back here in the Country Financial Studio with more Duck Insider after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Money isn't interested in the fact that you dream of going to Greece, and it doesn't pace at night wondering how you'll pay for braces 3 times. The point is, money without people is just money. Only people can use it to run the family ranch, buy their first house, or adopt a happy old dog. To us, the powerful thing about money isn't money at all. It's helping you harness the power of yours. On Point. People are the point. Federally insured by NCAA. Equal housing opportunity.
As my family continued to grow, I realized I'd have to replace my beloved Jeep with something that has, well, more seats. I'm Jason Hines, Country Financial Rep and father of 7. Whether you're upgrading from your sporty ride with no room for a car seat or finally replacing your well-loved beater that still has a cassette player, you'll want the right protection for your new car. Work with a Country Financial Rep like me and get the protection you need at a price you can afford. Learn more at TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
Don't go anywhere. Duck Insider continues after these messages on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
To some, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much, but that's not true. They're testing out vowels and consonants and trying different sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on meaning, especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Learn more at autismspeaks.org. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
It's 4 a.m., Monday, and you're literally sucking baby snot through a tube because she's congested. Man, that's love. And if you love her that much, love her enough to make sure she's buckled in the right car seat. To make sure your child's in the right seat for their age and size, visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Show them you love them. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Back here on Duck Insider, brought to you by On Point Community Credit Union. We're back here in the Country Financial Studio. I'll be honest, it doesn't happen often, but some technical difficulties here on Duck Insider. Unfortunately, our file was corrupted with the Coach Graves audio. We're going to try and get that back and get to it later in the show, but let's move forward on our outline and get to head coach Dan Lanning after Oregon had football spring practice over the weekend. I'll tell you what, I've been hearing that he has a microphone going at practice, some awesome energy with the Oregon football program, and Dan Lanning making himself at home quickly. He talked to the media, and let's go to the head coach of the Ducks right now.
Coach, was including spring break in spring camp intentional, and how do you see the players using that time?
Yeah, it wasn't, everything we do is intentional. There was some stuff kind of already set up from a schedule standpoint, from an academic opening up, and then it also allowed us to take advantage of the beginning of this week from a time standpoint. But right now, we just told our guys, look, you're about to have discretionary week and then have spring break. So how do we utilize this next 2 weeks to continue to move forward instead of moving back? So our guys have to be deliberate with their time, really have to be aware of what they're doing moving forward. And I think they'll do a good job of that.
Dan, with Forsyth, Harper, and Dennis either out or limited at the moment, just how has that impacted the CQ element these first couple of practices, and do you expect Forsyth back without limitation after break?
Yeah, I think we'll get a lot of these guys back, relatively soon. But it's certainly impacted. But what it's allowed us to do is work other people at those positions and continue to improve.
Coach, it seemed like Bo and Jay and Ty and all of them, there's kind of a collaborative working together of kind of pointing out things they were seeing out there. Obviously, you probably like that from your group. I wonder just kind of what you've seen from them and kind of how they've worked together, and maybe just Bo's veteran experience and how that maybe shapes the room for you guys.
I think we have a mature group. You look out there and you want competitive toughness. You want guys that go out there and work every single day to get better. But the reality is they also realize they can make each other better if they share their knowledge and share what they see. So they're doing a good job of that.
Coach, position battles are something you're going to be dealing with this spring and this summer. I'm curious as a coach how you go about that. Are you someone that updates them regularly on where they stand? Do you kind of check in with them once a week or so, or kind of let them feel it out along the way?
I think the meeting room updates guys on where they stand. They know if they're doing things right or doing things wrong based on how they're evaluated every single day in practice. One thing that's our job as coaches is to teach and give immediate feedback. So we're teaching every single day. We're giving immediate feedback after practice, during practice, and before the next practice. So that's our goal, and our guys realize where they stand because of that.
What do you look at when you come off the field? Like today, what's the one thing or the things you want to go watch film on, good or bad? Just what stood out today to you?
Efficiency is always number one for me as far as how we operated. Can we be more efficient with our time? Last practice we came off the field saying we need to be better in our transitions. We're keeping ourselves on the field longer than we need to be, and our guys did a much better job of that. So we're picking a goal each day that we can be better at as we move. Also to making sure that we get guys enough reps at enough different positions. So that's something we continue to evaluate is our rep count at each spot. Our guys getting to work at multiple spots and how that affects them moving forward.
Yeah, Coach, I'm curious with Jeffrey Bossa being listed at inside linebacker. I know you said a lot of guys are going to have kind of position fluidity, but what do you see from him that makes you kind of think that's a good fit for him there?
Yeah, intelligent, smart. I think inside linebackers nowadays, there's no such thing as a true Mike Backer anymore. You have to have speed on the field. He's a guy that can be sideline to sideline, has the athleticism of a DB, but has the physicality of a linebacker. And, all good linebackers nowadays can run. And, Jeff has that trait.
Coach, I'm curious about Popo. I heard that he was still in a sling after that surgery. I believe he had close to the Alamo Bowl. Is he going to be ready to go?
He's still going through rehab right now.
Dan, curious, when you make the move that you do and you're now at the head of the table and coaching the coaches and running the meetings is a big part of the job now as much as on the field. Take us into the room a little bit. Just what have these last 72 hours or so, what is these pre-practices, post-practices, and that element of the job that you just haven't done before? What does that look like? And who has influenced the way that you've run those meetings in that way most by way of the coaches you've worked for previously?
Yeah, I still just lean on the experience that I've had with, coaches I've been with in the past, whether it be Coach Saban, Coach Smart, Coach Norvell, Coach Graham, just all those guys. And I think one of the biggest things I learned from good head coaches is they coach the coaches too, right? And there's different methods to doing that. But if we want to improve our players, we have to get better as coaches. And I'll say this, our coaches are super receptive. They're all really great teachers. That's something we pride ourselves on. But I'm looking at our position meetings. I like to sit in a lot of different position group meetings. I like to travel on the field from individual group to individual group or team period to team period. And I'm going to continue to do that, try to find the flaws and places that we can grow.
Kind of touched on it there. I'm curious, though, obviously this is your first time doing this. What about like the self-evaluation process and kind of maybe where you can grow? You talk about the team needing to improve here or there, but what about for you over the next, 2 weeks before you guys get back together?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, every day I write down notes of something I did bad that I can get better at. And I challenge our coaches to identify something I can improve on as well. This is a learners and growers environment. That's our staff. So if there's something we can do better, I'm not a guy that wants a bunch of yes men around me. I want to make sure that we can improve. If there's something we can do better in a better way, we want to do that. And at the end of the day, I have veto power, and we might or might not. But we're going to listen and try to adjust on the fly. And it's not just about our players getting better. It's about our coaches getting better. It's about myself getting better, creating some of those move the field environments where we have to coach on the fly and operate. I think that's really important as we go through practice to practice.
Do you want to, I know this is a long way out, but do you want to scrimmage at all before the spring game? I guess just how are you figuring ways to do evaluations of 11 on 11 or 11 on air or 7 on 7? Just what ways can you find ways to do those types of evaluations before the spring game?
Yeah, we have our 15 practices already kind of mapped out, the structure of those, what they'll look like. We'll have, 2 scrimmage days in there that'll be really, exclusive scrimmage days. We'll work some special teams on those days as well. But every single day in practice, we're going to have 11 on 11 periods, whether it be tackle or not, that's different, right? But we'll compete, we'll thud, we'll have different tempos that we operate with throughout spring based on, the timing of spring. But we do have that laid out already.
Dan, an idea of just what the next 2 weeks look like? I know recruiting is certainly a big part of it, but you've already done the in-state coaching clinic and that stuff. So just what does the 2 weeks look like for the staff more so than the players in terms of, is it all recruiting centric? Is it seeing family? What goes on the next 2 weeks for you guys?
Yeah, we'll definitely focus first this next week on professional development. And more than anything, there's a lot of knowledge within our staff that I think we can share with each other. Meaning, hey, the offense coaching the defense on something they see. I think it's a great opportunity for us to do some cross the ball projects against each other, and then also do some projects within our own rooms where coaches can share some ideas of how they've done things differently. We really haven't had as much time as people might think for those kind of opportunities. Also, certainly an opportunity to be great dads and great husbands. We're looking for that. And you don't just talk about it, you got to be about it.
You mentioned a couple scrimmage opportunities. Past staffs have made efforts to go to Portland and kind of showcase the team in front of that group of the fan base. Is that something that is a part of the plan either now or in the fall?
It could be a plan in the future. Right now, it's not part of the plan.
To the offensive part of the install, Dan, and obviously Kenny talked about being a pro style, up tempo, and that stuff. How much, I'm going to say autonomy, I understand he's going to run it, but is implementation of purely what he's doing, and what is it exactly in terms of, I know the HUNH tree, and I've read the book. I know the terminology. So how much of it is that and what Mike and Gus did by way of philosophy, and how much is adjustments from either what he would like to do or what you would like from this offense to be?
Yeah, I think we continue to tweak it to fit our personnel. You know, Kenny has a plan along with Junior that they kind of mapped out together. Our whole offensive staff is really working together to map out what that's going to look like, but it's all based on our personnel. Like, I love play action shots, right? But at the end of the day, you better be able to protect the quarterback for play action shots. We got a good offensive line, but that plan has to work together. I like the ability to run the ball, but we have to figure out what runs fit our scheme the best. It's going to carry a lot of the pieces that he's obviously been involved in, but part of that professional development next week is what wrinkles can we add to our system to make us better moving forward. So all that'll add up, and I think it'll give us the evolution of what our 2022 offense looks like.
It's always good to talk about Oregon football. 365, am I right? That interview with Coach Lanning is brought to you by the Willamette Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center. Fight like a duck with cancer care that you can count on. The Oregon men's basketball team going to be traveling tonight to Utah. They earned the number 5 seed in the 2022 NIT tournament. They're going to face Utah State Tuesday, 6 o'clock. Joey Mack gets you going at 5:30 for the pregame show. Coach Altman talks about the NIT. We'll hear from him next after this break. We're coming back to the Country Financial Studio after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, our all-inclusive event pricing allows us to take care of all of the details while you enjoy your event. Our wedding garden, expansive grounds, ballroom, and meeting rooms can accommodate any size event and come complete with full catering and service staff. From weddings to business and social events, Shadow Hills offers the benefits of a resort atmosphere and the peace of a country setting just minutes from downtown Eugene. For more details, call us today or go to shadowhillsevents.com.
Attention Student Rocket League gamers. The $125,000 Level Next Rocket League Spring Showcase is back, and free entry is now open. Rep your school in the Level Next Rocket League Spring Showcase to win the championship trophy, ring, and part of the $125,000 prize pool. Like this opportunity, food is too good to be wasted. With Best Foods, you can save more and waste less food. Hashtag make taste, not waste. Registration closes March 27th. Sign up now at levelnextesports.com.
Duck Insider continues after this timeout on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
America, your children have an amazing superpower. They can help save lives by not having play dates. That's right. By replacing get-togethers with virtual play dates and video chats, they can help slow the evil spread of germs. And if your superheroes do go outside, make sure they continue their superhero wing by staying 6 feet away from others to protect everyone in America land. Find out more at coronavirus.gov. A message from the CDC and the Ad Council.
When might you be buzzed? When you suddenly love everything.
You guys! I love this song! I love these nachos. I love our kickball league! Ugh! I love this guy! What's your name? You know what I'd love? A ride when it's time to head out.
If you see a buzzed warning sign, call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I love your car. Is this real leather?
Welcome back to Duck Insider. We're in the Country Financial Studios. Jordan Brunner in for Joey Mack today. Coach Altman sat down and spoke to the media about Oregon men's basketball and their trip to the NIT. Tomorrow they face off against Utah State at 6 o'clock, which means you get your pregame started with Joey at 5:30. The game will also be on ESPN. The Ducks going to be searching for their 4th trip to the NIT Final Four in New York. Here is head coach Dana Altman.
Dana, just taking into yesterday in particular, as obviously you guys were the last pairing announced. Just what was that like watching, and did it start to get a little bit stressful there at the end?
I guess a little bit. I thought we were in, but you never know for sure. And so to be the last one announced in the 32 field, because I wanted to play. I think the guys wanted to play. We practiced yesterday, and so I thought the guys were kind of excited about getting an opportunity to play again. So I was hoping we were going to get that chance, and to be the last one announced was a little different.
Yeah, Danny, do you have an update on Will's status for the week?
I don't. I know they're running some tests this morning. He's seeing the doctor and the trainers. So, but I have not heard anything, Chris. I don't know.
Coach, you kind of touched on it a little bit, but what's the vibe like of this team right now? I mean, how excited do you feel they are to play in this? I know you said that anyone that wears the O on their chest should be excited to play, but what's the kind of vibe that you've gotten so far from this team?
Well, the only vibe I really got was yesterday in practice. We practiced for hour and a half, 2 hours yesterday, and they bounced around a little bit. A couple of guys were sick. Dante didn't practice and Isaac didn't practice, but I anticipate they'll be back today. So that's the only vibe I can get. We had 2 days off. We traveled back Friday, had Saturday off, got together at 1 o'clock yesterday and practiced, and we'll get together 1 o'clock today. It's a little bit of a stressful time. We got finals week this week, and I know the guys are, trying to take care of a lot of loose ends and get ready for some finals, get a lot of papers in. And so it's kind of a stressful week for them.
On that, Dana, this is obviously a really quick turnaround. So just what is the next about 36 hours look like in terms of when are you guys leaving and then turning around and playing a game amidst a finals week and everything else here in the midst of it, and your early impressions of this Utah State team who you'll be playing, like I say, in about 30 hours?
Well, first of all, we have had an opportunity to look at Utah State, and they're impressive. They're deep, play everybody tough, play really hard. They run their stuff, experienced group. You look at all the teams that are playing, James, they're all old. They've got old players, guys who've been around, and the teams that make the tournament, one common denominator is they're old, and so and Utah State's an old team, very veteran team. So it'll be a big challenge for us, and they're very good at home. So we know we're going to have to play very well on the road to get a win. To answer your first question about travel and that, we still don't know. We're trying to find a plane to get us down there. We're trying to back it up with a commercial flight. We couldn't get out of Eugene. Everything was booked to Salt Lake. So hopefully we won't have to jump on a bus and travel all night. But right now, we still don't know what our travel is. Those quick turnarounds, and we started working on it last night. And I don't know how we're going to get there, but we'll be there at 7 o'clock some way tomorrow, but 7 o'clock Mountain, 6 o'clock here. But right now, I'm not sure how we're going to get there.
Danny, what are your thoughts just on the Pac-12 as a whole heading into this postseason? Only got 3 teams into the NCAAs. You guys, weren't seated in the NIT. Do you think the conference is being overlooked?
Oh, I don't know. I know all those metrics and everything. play a huge part in this. I know that we slipped dramatically here in the last 2 weeks, from somewhere in the 50s to in the 70s, so, I don't know. Last year, I knew we were underrated, the conference as a whole. I really did. Going into the tournament, and I said, our teams are just better than this, and then we had a pretty good postseason. So much of it is determined, Chris, in the first 3 weeks of the season, with those tournaments, exempt tournaments, and that they kind of decide which conferences are good and which conferences aren't. And obviously, a lot goes into a long season. But, Arizona obviously got their due. They're very well recognized. A lot of people are picking them. UCLA, I thought, should have been a 3, maybe even a 2, but I didn't think they'd be a 4. I think they're, didn't get, as much recognition as they should. And I thought Andy's group and USC should have been a 6. So maybe they were off the line or so. But then, ourselves, we didn't do enough to get in. We were too inconsistent. We had 4 quad 1 wins, which would have been good enough to get us in if we'd have taken care of business against some other teams. But we were way too inconsistent, to earn that right. And, Colorado didn't have the quad 1 wins. Washington State definitely didn't. I don't even know if they had one. So, we got what we deserved. I'm not, going to complain. I hope the 3 teams in the NCAA tournament do a great job. I hope Colorado, Washington State, and us, can do a good job. We're the one that's got to go on the road, Washington State, and Colorado got a home game, and the NIT is usually dictated by the home teams. And so, I hope they do well.
Coach, I believe you said earlier in the year that some former players of yours reached out to you to kind of talk about the team. I'm curious if after the end of this season, any former players or coaches kind of reached out to you to offer words of encouragement or talk through things.
Well, I heard from, a number of our former players, they're still invested in our program, and when we do well, they feel good. And the guys we have, they're playing in the NBA, they got to hear it from all the other schools if we're not playing well, so they've got a big interest. But, try to stay in contact with the guys that want to stay in contact with me, and fortunately, a lot of those guys still, either call or text, and, it's great hearing from them. But I understand when they're disappointed. I understand when, they ask Coach, what's wrong? How come the guys, aren't competing, because they are invested. Some of them spent, anywhere from 4 years, 5 years, 2, 3, whatever the case may be, but they still feel like this is part of their program. And it is, the guys that have been here and won some ball games and won some conference championships, and done some things for us. They own this program. It's their program. And that goes way beyond before I got here. I mean, that's Coach Kent's players, Coach Harder's players, Coach Munson's players, going all the way back, Coach Green, anybody who's coached here, those players, they all are invested in our program. And the ones I've been fortunate enough to work with the last 12 years, they probably have a little bit closer connection just because of the staff and the fact that it's recent.
To Utah State specifically, Dana, in your initial look here, clearly their lead guy, Bean, averages nearly a double-double and has only been held to less than 10 points twice. So everyone in that league's familiar with him, and no one's really been able to slow him down very much at all. What have you seen from the few teams who have had success against them? How they've gone about doing it? And offensively, it seems like ball movement is how they open up and create a really high shooting percentage. And I think they're 5th in the country in assists. Just your impressions of their offense as a whole.
Well, Bean, first of all, I mean, he just moves. He's got a tremendous motor, and hard blocking him off because he's just going all the time. Really a hard playing young man, and very skilled. And they do move the ball. Their ball movement is good. A lot of extra passes that they make to get they got a good shot. They get a better shot with an extra pass. It's testament to the Mountain West being a pretty good league that, they, finished at 500, below 500 in the league, because they are a very good offensive team. And, hopefully, we'll be able to change some things up to them, disrupt them a little bit, but, a lot of people haven't, and especially at home. Their numbers at home, are really good. So we're preparing to play a team that, at home that has been a little different at home versus the road. So we're going to have to play very well.
I'll tell you what, there is still a lot on the line for the Oregon men's basketball team. And I, for one, have been fired up to hear Dana Altman, even speaking after the Pac-12 tournament in Vegas, just hearing him talk about the opportunity that the Ducks have in front of them in the NIT. Oregon can still win 20 games. Even more than that, I think Oregon can build some momentum into next year. And again, I'm not one to bet against Dana Altman. I think the Ducks are going to have a very successful season next year, and I think a part of that will be using this time and using this opportunity to play in the NIT to build towards the future. Always great to hear from the head coach of the Ducks. We have gotten Kelly Graves' audio figured out. We're going to go to him next. Part 1 of 2 with Kelly Graves after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
After 2 years of construction, my wife and I finally moved into our dream home. So when a bathtub fixture broke, causing major water damage, I was glad we had the home insurance protection we needed. How do you know your home is protected? Talk to a Country Financial rep like me, Nick Simon. We can help you understand your options and select coverages to meet your needs. Then if something happens to your home, you won't have any surprises. Need the right coverage for your home but not sure where to start? Visit TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
Thanks for calling Toyota. This is Jan. How can I help?
Hey, Jan. Say, is now a good time for a new Toyota?
You bet it is. Now through April 4th is the perfect time to shop for a RAV4, Tundra, Tacoma, Corolla, and more. Imagine yourself in a RAV4. Where would you go first?
Skinny Al's Barbecue.
I'm imagining you inviting me.
Let your imagination run wild at your participating Toyota dealer. Ready, set, go get your Toyota today. Toyota, let's go places. Dealer inventory may vary.
Duck Insider, your home for the latest news on Oregon athletics on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey, so what's a great way to spread awareness that driving high is illegal everywhere? A catchy song, of course.
You can run, but you can't drive high. You can run, but you can't drive high.
Friendly reminder, don't drive high. If you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Jill, why don't you tell the class what you did this weekend?
Well, my dad and I went in search of some magical minnows and found a zillion of them in the stream from our lookout rock. Then my sister and I escaped from an evil slug king and went back to my super twig fort for safety. Then we told stories till it got dark, and the Big Dipper led us all the way home. Wow. Where were you, Jill? We went to the forest. It's not that far away.
Ask your parents to take you and your friends to the forest this week. It's closer than you think. Check out discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Duck Insider. We're on the Oregon Sports Network live here in the Country Financial Studios. Oregon women's basketball getting their March run started this Saturday against Belmont. We think the bracket's favorable. We're going to go deep into that tomorrow on Duck Insider, but for now, let's get you to the voice that matters. That's head coach Kelly Graves talking with the media about the Ducks in March Madness.
Okay, well, first of all, I've been doing this for a long time, you guys, and even though we knew we were going to be in the field, there's always something magical about seeing your name come up. We're thrilled that we have a chance to compete in the NCAA tournament. 5 seed. I don't think that was any surprise. I thought that's probably where we were going to be. The question was where we would be going and who we'd play. You know, all I remember, you know, because I was following the Zags last year, I think Belmont was a 12 last year in this tournament and beat the number 5 Zags. So that's what I told our team. You know, I don't know a lot of the particulars yet. I haven't had a chance to really look into that, but I know they're going to be good. They've been good for a long time. They seem like they're in the NCAA tournament each and every year. And, you know, and it's a semi-home game for them. They're going to, I'm sure, have a lot of fans in the Knoxville area. And so anyway, again, we're excited to be playing, and we hope to go down and compete, play our best.
Kelly, you mentioned obviously not a lot by way of history with these two programs, but in terms of the destination you'll be in, certainly a historic one for women's college basketball. Any experience you have in Thompson Bowling and what is a very large and cavernous facility who knows it's college basketball?
Yes, they do. In fact, I talked to the team after and just to, you know, tell them a little bit about Belmont, where it was and things like that. And I did talk about the fact that we're going to, you know, what really could be the home of women's basketball. I told them that when they were little girls, you know, the college women's basketball world revolved around Knoxville. You know, that was the program. And you know, it's the home of the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame. We'll make sure that we have a chance to go there. And yeah, personally, I have played there before. We played them when I was at Gonzaga. We did a home and home back when I had a Jamie Bjorklund on my team and they had an Angie Bjorklund on their team. So we got the two sisters together and played. I am certainly familiar with the fact that really before UConn made their ascension, you know, Tennessee, the Lady Vols were really the standard by which every program was judged. And they're still, to this day, the most storied program. Kelly Harper's come back and really revived the program. And they're certainly formidable. That is for sure. But that's about all I know there. Really, we're not even thinking, you know, Lady Vols. We're thinking all about Belmont Bruins. And they're going to give us everything that we can handle. That's going to be a heck of a game.
Yeah, Kelly, on just a macro scale, looking at all of the matchups first round in the tournament, I mean, this feels about as deep an NCAA women's tournament as we've seen in a little while. Just what was your reaction, not just to where you guys were seated, quality of opponent, but just generally what this tournament looks like, where teams were seated, et cetera?
Well, the truth is I didn't really watch. You know, we had a little get together and we had some of our donors and things like that around. So I didn't really have a chance to see who was seated where and who was going where. I did notice, however, that the Pac-12 were seated quite well. You know, a lot of respect for the Pac-12. 6 different teams seated 8 or better. That's really, really good. And, you know, you look at the NCAA tournament since 2017, you guys are the numbers people, but we have by far the best record of any of the power conferences in the tournament. So, you know, the Pac-12 got respect in this one, and I think deservedly so. Some people think it might have been a down year for us. I don't think so, and I hopefully that will play out once we get into the field. So those, Andrew, are really the only ones other than the 1 seeds that I really paid that much attention to.
It's been a little bit since you've played in an opposing gym like this to start a tournament. You guys have been on the fortunate end to host, and last time was a neutral site. Just kind of what can you draw from that? I guess back to 17, I guess that was a pretty good tournament run, but just the unique nature of kind of going cross country like this.
Yeah, we haven't had to do it, like you said, in a while. So yeah, it'll be new, certainly to this team. You know, we're relatively new to this tournament. When you consider our core players, Indy Rogers hasn't played in an NCAA tournament. Tahina Paupau hasn't played in an NCAA tournament. There's your starting backcourt. And nobody else has played in more than one, which was last year, right? So, you know, it's going to be a unique and new experience for them. I've had the good fortune to do it and have gone cross country. We've had some success, I think, in 17, as you mentioned. We beat the number 2 seed Duke at Duke in the second round, which was, you know, obviously kind of springboarded us to the program we have now, really. But yeah, it's a neutral site game in the first round. That's all we can care about right now. So, but what I'm more concerned with, our kids start final exams tomorrow. And so hopefully they'll be able to get all their exams done before we leave. So this will be a difficult week, but hopefully a very memorable week for our student athletes. And I've been on the record, and you can look back, I've been on the record even on those years we hosted. I'm still hoping that women's basketball at some point gets off the top seeds hosting. I just think we can stand on neutral ground, so to speak, from here on out. But that's just me. And I'm not saying it this year. You guys know we didn't deserve to host this year. I've said it on years when we were a potential 1 or we're a 2 seed. So I just think that's where the game needs to go and grow.
You mentioned a few things right there, Kelly. You have a lot of quality players who haven't necessarily played in this tournament before, and you have finals week coming up. What's kind of your message these next few days to try to prepare them for this?
You got to compartmentalize it. You just have to, first of all, you just got to get it all done. I mean, there's no excuses, right? Get it done. We'll have tomorrow off, which is good. Hopefully, most of them are able to get pretty much all their studying done by then. We won't leave until Thursday, so most of them will probably be able to finish their final exams. But that's always priority one, you guys. They're student athletes. The student comes first. I believe that. That was the last message that I left the team with. Good luck on finals. That's what's most important. The basketball will take care of itself.
Kelly, I wanted you to put on your dad cap for a second and talk about Will and the work that he's put in, and also just the fact that not only he but also you guys as well get a more traditional tournament experience this year.
Oh yeah, no question. That was the second biggest reason why I was hoping we could host, right, and put ourselves in position, because I knew Gonzaga was going to end up in Portland. And I would be able to kind of run back and forth, and see them. Unfortunately, I'm going to miss the first couple of rounds. So, but yeah, I mean, this is, we're just excited to play. I mean, we've worked hard for it. I know a lot of people feel like, well, you guys either didn't meet expectations. I've never really known what that means. Maybe it was down year we lost some more than we had hoped. But the reality is you guys were a 5 seed, which puts us in the top 20 in the country. We can never take that for granted. We can never lose sight of the fact that, this is a really good program and we're having a chance to compete. If a down year is a 5 seed, man, I'll take that. We've really set a high standard around here. That's pretty special.
Part 2 with Kelly Graves coming up after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As my family continued to grow, I realized I'd have to replace my beloved Jeep with something that has, more seats. I'm Jason Hines, Country Financial Rep and father of 7. Whether you're upgrading from your sporty ride with no room for a car seat or finally replacing your well-loved beater that still has a cassette player, you'll want the right protection for your new car. Work with a Country Financial Rep like me and get the protection you need at a price you can afford. Learn more at TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCAA. Equal housing opportunity.
This is Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
If a natural disaster comes knocking, how prepared is your family? You can't just close the door on earthquakes, floods, or hurricanes and hope they go away. That's why it's important to make a plan now. Ready.gov/plan has the tools and tips you need to prepare your family for an emergency. So if disaster shows up at your doorstep, you'll be ready. Visit ready.gov/plan and make a plan today. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Hey, son, how are you feeling?
I'm fine, Pops.
What's on your mind?
I can't explain it. Navigating without a compass, eyes waiting, started to wonder. Metamorphosis, the loss of who you thought you was.
When your kid can't find the language, help them find the lyrics. Listen to the Sound It Out album and get tips and tools to start a conversation at sounditouttogether.org. Brought to you by Ad Council and Pivotal Ventures.
Welcome back to Duck Insider. Jordan Brenner in for Joey Mack. Before we get to part 2 with Kelly Graves, and we'll get to as much of it as we can, it's time for today's 2-minute drill, brought to you by Cafe M. Need to shine a light on a few things. Oregon men's tennis yesterday, 2 wins, defeating Portland 4-2, Montana State 4-0 at the Student Tennis Center. Oregon softball, 11 wins in a row. Ducks outscoring their opponents by 28 runs at the Oregon State tournament at the Jane this past weekend. Emmanuel Umije successfully defended his title in the triple jump Saturday afternoon at the NCAA Indoor Championships. What a superstar, absolutely. And Oregon baseball going down to the Bay Area. I was there with them. It was a lot of fun, taking 2 out of 3 against the number 2 Stanford Cardinal. 2 comeback wins. The Saturday game, Oregon coming back from 6 runs. That was a lot of fun. That was the 2-minute drill brought to you by Cafe M. Restaurants throughout Oregon and Washington serving Northwest-inspired catering and takeout for your next gathering or meeting. Menus at cafeyum.com. Here is part 2 with Kelly Graves.
So we watched your team kind of hit their stride in January with wins over Arizona and UConn, 2 teams that are ranked pretty high going into postseason. How are you going to allow the team to kind of channel that same energy that you guys kind of hit during that stride that you kind of lost a little bit but caught at the end of the Pac-12 season?
Yeah, I don't know. That was 2 months ago. We're a different team now. We've been up and down. When we play good basketball, we're a pretty good team, and I think we're capable of beating anybody. And that's not hyperbole. I truly do believe that. But we also shown that at times we're not very good. And we just got to, this is the NCAA tournament. Every possession matters. We have to have extreme focus. I think the fact that last year we won a couple of games in the tournament, we had an upset win over a 3 seed. I think that will help. That matters. Even though it was on a neutral site, that was kind of a unique experience. It did matter. We won in the tournament. So our team has seen some success, our returners. So that I think is important. We know we can do it. And, I've been around the block. I need to help, this team out as much as possible. Jackie Nard made it as an assistant last year to the championship game with Arizona. Jody, of course, has been with me for many years. She's going to be a great resource. So, we've been through the rigors, and we just need to use our experience to help this team. But we just got to go play well, you guys. I wish I knew had the magic pill or whatever. We just got to go play well, got to go play hard and let the chips fall where they may.
2 parts, Kelly. You mentioned Jackie there. I know she's due very soon. So will she be traveling with you folks this weekend, for 1, and 2, on the team side? Where do you feel this team is, Kelly, in terms of, is Maddie, do you expect Maddie to be back in a starting capacity? Even if she is, do you like you've talked about how you like the bigger lineup in general? Do you think you saw enough there to stick with it? It certainly redefined your identity last year. Do you look to stick with that? Or are you going to be more the guard-centric team you were most of the season?
Yeah, it's a loaded question. I'll handle Jackie's first. I'm not sure. My guess is she will not make the trip since it's quite a ways away. I think she could deliver any day. We're making bets. She's got a couple more weeks for me to win, but I think at this point, she's probably better off staying. But I'm leaving that to her and her doctor and her husband. Either way, she's going to be in the background helping us. She's a wizard at video and things like that. She's really, really good at game planning. So she's going to help us defensively. In terms of who we're going to go with, we have a couple of kids banged up, to be honest with you, James. We haven't had a couple that have kind of been missing some practice here. Maddie's still not back 100%. I'm going to leave that option open. You know, we've played down the stretch with the bigger lineup to start and have had some success with it. Defensively, sometimes we're better when we go small because we can, you know, make more things happen defensively. So I'm going to leave that between me and go from there. Is that fair?
I just wanted to ask you, I mean, you answered some of this, but it's such a tough loss in Las Vegas, and you guys had a bit of a break. What have you guys done since? I know finals are ramping up and academics are part of it, but how active have you guys been in terms of practicing? Have you taken some time off? And I know obviously some players, as you mentioned, with some health stuff, so it's kind of probably tough to manage, but how have you guys accomplished that, I guess? Yeah, we took a week off, Eric. We practiced for the first time on Friday afternoon. We practiced yesterday, and then we practiced today. So 3 really good hard days of practice. I thought it was very beneficial. And but I think at this time of the year, man, rest is really, really important. And so we took those days off, not just the physical rest, because we know we have some players that are injured. And it's a long season. But the mental rest, I think, is just as important this time of year. I've always done it. When I was at Gonzaga all those years, winning those, conference tournaments and going to the NCAA, we always took the week off. Now there it was different because it was always spring break. So they had a little bit of fun. We didn't have spring break this past week, but I know a few stayed in Vegas, a few went home. Those that had in-person classes here had to come back. So, but it was a good rest. But we had three days. We'll take tomorrow off. Then we'll practice Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday before we leave. Another 3 really good practices, and then use Friday as a prep day.
That's Coach Graves talking about the NCAA tournament. Let's pull up the bracket while we have some time here before the end of Duck Insider. I think, would have loved to see Oregon hosting at Matthew Knight Arena. Oregon with those amazing home fans. I think the best fans in the country for the Oregon women's basketball team. But one positive about going to Knoxville, Coach Graves saying that the team's going to be able to visit the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame. That's really cool. And that's, you're playing the tournament. That's some inspiration. There's no doubt about it. Oregon women's basketball getting their tournament started on Saturday. Thanks for joining us here on Duck Insider. I'm Jordan Brenner. I'll be back tomorrow on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey, Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Is this tree good for climbing? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to